Tonight, we're going to be looking at skills, both soft skills and technical skills required in business analysis. So let's get started. We'll go to our slide. So, what are these skills all about? We have in business analysis, we have both soft skills and technical skills. All these skills are very important for you to make a good business analyst. Effective business analysts bridge the gap between business need and technical solution. And this is where you have to have business skills and you have to have technical skills. You need business skills that will help you to communicate, help you to analyze, and technical skills. You need to understand the solutions. You need to understand the softwares, how these softwares are being developed, how they are being designed. You need to communicate with the developers. That's where the technical skills come in. So you need to have both skills. So the skills include analytical skills, communication skills, technical skills, and interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills is quite important because you need to have the charisma. You need to be able to influence decision. When you make recommendation, you should be, like I said, we make recommendation to the business leaders, but you should be influential that when you make recommendation, you should be able to influence business leaders to take favorable decision based on your recommendations. So these are all the things combined together that will help you as a business analyst. So going forward, we are going to look at these skills one after the other. Now we are starting with analytical skills. These are very important skills for business analysts. It's very important. It comes in various ways, in form of requirement analysis, data analysis, process analysis, and system thinking. In terms of requirement analysis, you need to have the skills to elicit, document, and analyze business requirements. What are these elicit? We've talked about elicit before. Is a technique. Elicit is a requirement gathering, to gather or to collect data. And when you collect this data, you need to document the data you collected. And after documentation, you need to analyze the data collected. So you can see where this comes in, that as a BA, you need skills to carry out this function, and we call it analytical skills. During the analysis, you need to apply some techniques like interview, survey, and workshop. Just like I was telling you people that there is a great difference between skills and techniques. When you have these skills, then you should be able to apply these techniques. Then we'll have data analysis. It's still part of the analytical skills. You should be, like I said, when after collecting data, you should be able to analyze your data. And we have complex data, like so many companies, when the company is having a problem, for instance, when there is a decrease in sales profit, when the sales profit goes down, or when the when the profit goes down, or when the revenue goes down, or when the sales goes down, a business analyst should be able to analyze the sales data to understand why there is a decrease or a decline in sales. You should be able to apply various techniques to understand this complex data. As a good BA, you should be able to know how to use Excel sheets or spreadsheets. We can use mainly the people that do this most of the time. We have regarded this job as the job for data analysts. But in some areas where we don't have data analysts, a BA should be able to come up and do some of these activities. These days, we don't use Excel sheets or pivot table. We're using Power BI tableaus for this kind of analysis. But they are mainly being done by data analysts these days. So you need to understand data modeling, data-driven decision-making. So, but this is not part of what we are going to be doing. We are going to be focusing in core business analysis. Data analysis is a big, have a big scope on its own. But it's good for you to understand that data analysis, not just conventional data analysis, is still part of a way of understanding your job very well, or understanding the problems the organization is having. You need to understand this, and then from there you should be able to understand the solution that needed. In my company these days, we have a lot of business analysts, we have a lot of data analysts. So what we do is that when we have complex data, we invite data analysts. They will use Power BI to do some analysis, and we do review the outcome together. Then we have problem-solving skills. It's still part of the analytical skills. Problem-solving means the ability to identify and solve business problems, apply critical thinking and analytical reasoning. You should be able to form a group, do brainstorming, and come up with a solution. This is part of the skills that you require or you need to possess as a business analyst. Then we have process analysis. Process analysis is a situation where you analyze process of a process within an organization or within a department or within a unit, the process of doing something. For instance, the marketing, what are the process the marketing needs to undergo in order to create a marketing promotion? Or what are the process of managing a lead? These are what we call processes. So in so many organizations, we have process owners. In marketing department, we have so many processes within the marketing department, and we have various process owners and people working within the processes. Process analysis is very big, and is as you are progressing in business analysis, you have to find out that there are another role called process analyst. They are business analysts, but their major focus is mainly process modeling. These are the people that use flow charts, process map, like the UML diagram I was showing you yesterday. These are the areas we use processes. We use UML to map out processes. For instance, let's say process map. Okay, this is you can see this process is hotel management. Sorry. This is a hotel management process flowchart template. It's a process. The people working within this process were called process analysts. They are still business analysts, but we are drilling down into various other roles within business analysis, or you are the business analyst. So you see customer, you see hotel services, and you see quality assurance. So it's for you to identify areas of improvement within the hotel management, you need to map out this kind of process. So we call these people process analysts, or we call this process analysis. So these are part of the things you are going to be doing. It's very lucrative for you to be a process analyst. There's a lot of money in becoming a process analyst. Let's say process analyst. You can see here, you see lead process analyst. They are still business analysts, but we'll call them process analysts. You see another one here, process analyst. You see process analyst. And you see 6 months contracts, hybrid for Halifax, 2 to 3 days per week, and is £450 per day. This process analyst role will work with the business analysis chapter, working within the process design function. The business design team provides stakeholders with information and insight. So this is some of the things you'll be doing as a process analyst, but you are still a business analyst, but they are drilling down to specific where we are going to be majoring, or you call it subject matter expert in this area. So when you are growing, you need to decide where to specialize. So that is what we mean by process analysis. So I took a bit of time to, explain this process analysis because it's a very lucrative area in business analysis. So the main function here with this skill, if you possess these analytical skills, is used to identify areas for improvement and optimization. So before you can improve in any area in business analysis, the first thing you need to do is to identify the current process and the future process. When you identify the current process, you map it out, and then the future process, within the current process, there's what you do gap analysis within the current process to identify the areas of improvement within the current process. So let's look at again current process map. Let's see. Can get some. So if you look at this process map, it's not showing very well. Don't worry, these are things we are going to do, but I just want to show you examples of what current process is all about. You see this, the first one here is current process map. Then the second one here is called future process map. That is current process and future process. If you look at this current process, you see this area in red color. These are the areas that you've identified for improvement. We call it gap within the current process. And after you have removed this gap or improved on this gap, we have what we call future process. You can see in future process, this red has been removed, and this is area we use lane. We call it lane. In this process, we use lane methodology to do this. So we use it for waste reduction. In this current process, we've identified all these red are the waste within the current process. And you can see within the future process, we have removed these red areas, thereby optimizing the future process. So that is what we call process maps, process improvement, or identifying gaps within the process. So this is current process, future process. So these are the things you are going to be doing. This is the way you are going to be identifying the gap within processes. So you can see that process analysis, there is a lot to process analysis. Then we have system thinking, still within analytical skills. System thinking means that you have to understand individual components of any system and as it fits into the large organizational system. If you come to the organization, they have a big system, organizational system. The IT system is big, number one. So all the application within the organization, they can be called a system. and how each other application, all these applications, how they are integrated into one big system and work as one system and start sharing information is a skill that you need to understand. If you come to so many organizations these days, most of the things the business analyst does these days is integration, integrating one application to another application for data communication, for data sharing. So you need to understand how this works. Call it system thinking. Outside that, if you are working in a particular application, for instance, you are working with a CRM system, you need to constantly improve on that CRM system. So you need to understand how to develop add-on or small functionalities which you need to be adding on the bigger system on regular basis in order to optimize value. So we call it system thinking. This is what we do using agile methodology. All the time you look at, let's use Facebook as a case study. Facebook is a big system. On regular basis, you see Facebook keep on adding new features. As a business analyst, you need to understand how these new features can be developed and be added onto the bigger system. We call it product as well. If we're into agile environment, we call it products, and how we'll be developing small features and adding these small features into the bigger product. These are the things we call system thinking. We need to think, understand how this works. So is a method, is still part of the analytical skill you need to possess as a business analyst. So you consider the broader impact of the proposed change. In some areas, if you add a change or if you add a feature to an existing product or an existing system, it can crash the whole system. So you need to understand how this works so that before you add any feature, then you must have a backup of the other system, so that if the new add-up brings a crisis to the system, you withdraw it and then roll back the old system from the backup. So these are the things we need to understand as a business analyst, because you, the business analyst, you drive the change and you must plan the change. And for you to plan the change, you must understand how the change works and how the impact of the change you are bringing in the system or in the organization. So that is what we call system thinking. So you can see in analytical skills, we have subcategories under these analytical skills, which we have requirement analysis, we have data analysis, we have problem solving skills, we have process analysis, we have system thinking. They are all analytical skills. They are part of the analytical skills. So you, as a good business analyst, you need to possess all these skills. How do you acquire all these skills? That is what we are doing as we are learning these techniques, learning technologies. That is how you acquire all these skills. Then communication skills. in business analysis, you need to be a good communicator. As a business analyst, you talk a lot. Is a customer business analysis is a customer-facing role. What do I mean customer-facing role? You talk with the stakeholders, different types of stakeholders. These stakeholders can be the end users of your company products, the customers who are buying the products. These can be suppliers, these can be vendors, these can be government people, this can be regulatory authority, these can be members of the organization, senior members within your unit or within your department or outside your department. For instance, you as a business analyst, you work in the IT department. And the IT department supports every other department, ranging from account department, HR, marketing, sales, operations. These are various departments that the IT unit supports. And within all these units, or all these departments, all of them are using technology, different technologies. So the technology the account unit or account department is using is different from the technology the human resources department is using, different from the one the marketing, the sales and marketing, the one they are using. And all these technologies need support. And if they need support, they need optimization, they need improvement, they need changes. Whom do they speak to? They speak to business analysts. They do not understand IT. All they know is that they are trained to use this system. But if the system breaks down, they cannot even troubleshoot the system. So they rely on you, the business analyst. And in the IT, there is another group of people called the developers that are waiting for improvement, waiting for change, waiting for action. They do not understand the language of the other people, like the accounting. So you, the business analyst, is the bridge between them. You understand what the other departments are saying, then that will call it business language. You understand the business language and you translate the business language into technical language to the developers. And the developers will want to communicate to the business leaders, but they do not understand the business language. So they will tell you what they want, and you then go to the business leaders and convey the information. The same thing, the requirement, business requirement. You translate business requirement into technical requirement, and you translate technical requirement into business requirement. So you are the translator of IT language and business language. And for you to do that, you need to have a strong communication skills in terms of verbal communication, written communication. Like I said, you speak with diverse stakeholders. You convey complex technical concepts clearly. For you to do this, you need to facilitate various meetings. You have a meeting with the stakeholders in the marketing. You have meeting with the stakeholders in the finance. You have meeting with the stakeholders in the HR. You cannot have this meeting. You cannot bring all of them together to have a meeting with all of them together because they have different needs. You cannot bring finance department stakeholders into HR meeting because the software the HR is using is different from the software the finance. So you have different meetings, you collect different needs. So that is why you need to have this facilitation skill to facilitate meeting within different types of stakeholders. You can do that through workshop, discussion group, and various meeting one-on-one. You can do that through observation. These are various ways you can capture requirements. You need to facilitate a lot of meeting and workshop and discussions. You manage diverse viewpoints and guide conversation to productive outcome. Every meeting you are having, you must, at the end of the meeting, come out with a take-home outcome. You cannot close a meeting without jotting down a take-home out of that meeting, the outcome. And you must decide the next step after the meeting. So these are the things. Facilitation skill is part of this facilitation skill. Guiding conversation to productive outcome. You can have a meeting, you start the meeting, the stakeholders having different viewpoints, argument will erupt. You should have the skills to bring the meeting to a conclusive, to a productive outcome, no matter how the meeting goes. So when the meeting is trying to, the stakeholders are trying to deviate, you bring them back. So you must have this ability, and we call it facilitation skills. So communication skills continues, and during the facilitation, those meetings you facilitate, you present ideas. That's what presentation. You must be able to write good reports and be able to present them to the business leaders or the stakeholders for them to understand your view or your idea or your change or your initiative in a very clear, non-technical terms. Because these people, most of the stakeholders, most of them do not know anything about IT. I have a stakeholder, a very high stakeholder, and to my surprise, that the stakeholder is the director, but the stakeholder doesn't know what Scrum Master is. So he doesn't have any IT skills. He doesn't know, but he's a director. So for you to think everybody knows, everybody knows this, they should know. No, don't assume that they know. So you should take it that they don't know it, and you should try as much as you can to break your initiative down. All your technical ideas, technical requirements, they must be broken down into non-technical language or non-technical ideas. You must create and deliver a compelling presentation. And that's where PowerPoint presentation skills and slides come in. You must be able to create a good PowerPoint or a good slide that you use for meeting. You see this slide that I'm using for these lectures. I produced this slide. I didn't buy it from anybody, and I didn't beg anybody to do it for me. But I try as much as I can, because I see you people as non-technical people. I see you as my stakeholders that do not understand IT. So during this presentation, the idea of using this slide is that even if you don't understand my English or my accent very well, you should still be able to follow by looking at the slide. The language here is very clear. Everything, the terms I use here is very clear, is very short and very clear and direct to the point. You see the way I use bullet points here to convey my idea. So if I should give you this slide without even talking, you should be able to follow. For instance, here, I live here in London. London is a multi-cultural, multi-language. Here we have a lot of people. We have people with different background, different accents. So don't think everybody is going to understand you. A lot of people will not understand me as a Nigerian, my accent. Some people are from India. Some people are from America. Some people are from England here. Some people are from Scotland. You know, but all these people are here in this workshop. So I must try as much as I can, even if some people are struggling with my accent or with my language, they should still be able to follow. And this is where the presentation comes in. That is still part of the communication. So you must leave no stone unturned when you are trying to communicate. You see, I try to create, I'm not using any design like images. I try to just be simple. It's good if you want to use images for your presentation, but some images, some people don't know how to use images, pictures, and instead of you using images, if you don't know how to make it simple, just leave it out. Try to be as professional as you can, and this is what it is. So you see this presentation skill, articulate finding and recommendation for both technical and non-technical. You must be a good listener as a BA, a business analyst. You must not be offended by the comments of the stakeholders or the audience or the respondent or the people you are having in a workshop or meeting with. You must not interrupt when the stakeholders are talking within a meeting or within an interview or within a workshop. It's good to be a good listener. You must be an active listener. Listen attentively to understand stakeholders' perspective and concern. Allow a stakeholder to finish. Don't conclude, I know where I know what he's trying to say. You don't know. Even if you know, behave like you don't know. Try to use a probing question that will lead to a detailed explanation. We call it open questions. It's very good to use open question than using closed question. For instance, let's look at open question and closed question. If I want to ask you, you've been in this London for some time now, the answer you are going to give me is yes or no. And that will close that. I might not really know how long you've lived in London because I said you've been in this London. You see, I'm closing up a lot of things. I'm just dragging to get yes or no from you. And that is what you are going to give me. So if you need to talk to tell me how long, then I'll ask you, okay, how long have you stayed? You see this question, How long have you stayed? That will prompt you to, I've been in this London or so. You start talking. So it's no longer going to be yes or no. So try as much as you can to resist from asking questions that will end up in yes, no, true, false when you are engaging, because you need to get as more details as possible. If you are issuing out questionnaire, then it's good to use closed question that will be either yes or no, or select from the option. But if you're having a one-on-one, it's good to use probing questions. Probing question is open-ended questions. This will help you to gather more information and clarify requirements. So these are part of the communication skills that we need to possess as a business analyst. We have stakeholders communication, we have facilitation, we have a presentation skill, and we have active listening skills. Then we go to technical skills. In business analysis, we have a lot to do with technical deliverables. So number one here is to understand the SDLC. SDLC means software development life cycle. You will need to understand every stage of software development. Knowledge of software development life cycle phases. How do you develop a software? Before you develop a software, you need to gather requirements. And gathering requirements, this stage we'll call it initiate stage or discovery stage. And then after that discovery stage or the initiate stage, we have another stage that is when we start designing the solution. So we call it solution design stage, or we call it define stage. Then we'll have another stage when we start, after designing, we start building the solution or building the software. We call it execute stage or delivery stage. After building and delivery, then we'll have another stage called closure stage. After building, we can't just close, we need to document the project. And that is, I've stated key four stages in software development life cycle: initiate stage, define stage, execute stage, and closure stage. As a business analyst, you must have good knowledge of how all these stages work, what deliverables that can be produced within the stages. Integration of business analysis into software development life cycle. You must know how to integrate business analysis. How do you do that? This is how to develop a solution. So for you to integrate that, you must know how to gather requirements, analyze the requirement that is going to be used for this software development. Another good skill to have in technical skill is data modeling. Ability to create and understand data model to represent business information. At this stage, yes, it's more mainly in data analysis, but a business analyst must be able to understand data modeling. You need to understand data mapping. You should be able to do at least simple data mapping. You must understand how this data can be modeled in business analysis, at least for business leaders, and equally how to transform business data into technical requirements. Tool proficiency. In tool proficiency, you need to be familiarized with a lot of tools that are needed in business analysis. And that is what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we took our time to look at various tools we need in business analysis. Like I said, skills are different from these skills will help you to understand the technique and understand the tools. So with what we've done already, you have the skills already to understand the tools. You can start building on that skills, developing it more by trying to know more technologies, understand how these technologies works, what are the stages you use these technologies in business analysis. What techniques do you use this, start applying these tools? So for this, we need to familiarize ourselves with tools like management tools. When we talk about management tools, we talk about project management. We have Gantt chart and the rest of them. Then we have diagramming tools, diagrams like UML, Unified Modeling Language. Like yesterday, I told you these are core tools for business analysis. We use UML tools like Visio, Lucidchart, Draw.io. These are diagramming tools we use for process modeling. We use for wireframing. We use it for use case diagram and so many other diagrams. So we call it diagramming tools. We call it UML tools, Unified Modeling Language Tools. Then we have collaborative tools or collaboration platforms. Collaboration platforms like Basecamp. Basecamp, we have collaboration platform like video conferencing application, like Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom. These are collaborative platforms. We have so many of them, collaborative platform. We have Jira, we have Asana, we have Monday.com, we have ClickUp, we have Trello. All these tools are collaborative tools or collaborative platforms. So you must have good knowledge. You have skills. You must have skills to use them, manipulate them while doing your job. As a business analyst, you must know how to use at least 2 video conferencing applications. So many of you do not know how to use Zoom. So many of you have never used Google Meet. So many of you have not used any of this. You must know how to do it. It's very, very necessary that if you have not been using it, it's time you start using it. And that is what we are going to be doing going forward. Very soon, these are what I'll have to, force you people to be having workshops on your own, doing a lot of things together, using all these collaborative tools. You must know how to use them. Is very, very key and is very, very important. Diagramming tool, like I said, we are going to start using them very soon. So proficiency to these tools is very, very important and key. Then we have a programming language. You must have basic knowledge of programming language. It's very, very key. You know, you might not be using it to become a developer or you to start developing, but you spend most of your time, most of your day with people that speak a particular language. Although you are not a native of that particular language. But because you spend your time, you spend a lot of time with these people, there is need for you to understand the basics of that language. Now, if you don't speak English, it's going to be difficult for you to live here in UK. It's difficult. So if you don't speak English and you want to live in UK, so you have to start learning how to speak English. Even if you are not going to work, you are going to do business, just business here, bring your goods here, sell, and go back to your country. Maybe you are from France. Because you are coming here to sell your goods, there is need for you to understand basic language like come, go, how are you, how much. You must understand it, you must be able to respond. The same thing applies to your job as a business analyst. You deal with developers that knows how to speak a lot of languages, programming languages, like JavaScript, like HTML, like Python, like Java, like so many of them. All these languages you must know, not really know how to speak them or write them, but when you see a code, you shouldn't be panicking. You shouldn't start panicking. You don't know. So you should be able to understand the basics of programming language. And that is how I started my programming. I started programming, learning how to, I never knew how to program. I started learning it. And today, it's helping me a lot. Although I'm not working as a developer, but I'm a developer because I can develop a lot of basic applications. And I can, even so many complex applications, I work with so many developers. We do a lot together as a team where I contribute as a developer in that team. And that has helped me so much, so much. I've developed so many applications, so many of my businesses, I developed them. And you see where it's going to cost for me to hire a developer and pay a developer £70,000, £80,000 to develop application for me. I'll do it myself. And I've done so many of them myself. So that is it. Some of the languages, let's see. HTML. So if you want to start, if you don't know anything about programming, if you want to start, this particular link, I'll share it with you for those who want to start. I've shared this with so many people and it's helping them a lot. This, you can see here, tutorials Let's see. Here you have HTML. You have CSS. We have JavaScript. We have SQL. We have Python. We have Java. We have PHP. We have C++. We have Bootstrap. We have React. We have MySQL. We have jQuery. We have so many, even Excel. So here is very, very good place to start. If you are just starting, like this is, you can see introduction. You can start from introduction to learn this HTML. You can start from here. This will help you to understand the basics of web development. It's just basic of web development for you to develop static code. Most of the code you are going to be developing here are some of these things we are seeing on websites you are browsing. You know, some of them still static code that doesn't have a complex behavior. But if you want to start adding complex behavior to this HTML, then you need to start mixing it up with PHP and JavaScript for this code to start behaving the way you want it. And that is how all these applications you are seeing, most of them are developed in this manner. Most of them are developed using this PHP. This is one of the application I'm developing currently, which is I'm going to deploy to the market very soon. Is a service, any service you can think of, we have it here, any kind of service in Nigeria. So ranging from beauty here, you can see boots, and you can come here. So the service providers will come here and register, and the customers, any kind of service, you can come here and get the service providers. If you're looking for a plumber, if you're looking for a cleaner, or if any kind of service you can think of. So this particular application here is developed using PHP. And you find out that these are things you are going to be doing all the time, like this application equally is a similar application like this. Local. This is the one we are going to work on. Local handies is the same thing for services. So in various services, this particular one and the other one I showed, they are developed differently, but they are all developed using the same language called PHP. So this is it. And for you to be able to work, and you are trying to, maybe we want to do an integration, we want to integrate Flutterwave in this application so that we can start receiving payment or processing payment in this application. You need to understand how this application works. Everything here is all about PHP. So you need to understand this. Although it's not compulsory, I'm not trying to scare you, but it's just for you, if you have time, it's good to understand some of these languages. Most of the application we are using today, for instance, this React. React is a language owned by Facebook. The Facebook we are using today is developed in React, both React and React Native. React Native is the mobile application of Facebook. And the desktop version is developed on this, using this React.js, React JavaScript. So this is an example of React. This is how it looks like. And the PHP, most of the applications you are using today, they are developed in PHP. And this is how it looks like. This is example of a PHP language. So this is not a rocket science, you know. It's just for you to devote time and trying to learn something. And JavaScript, this is how most of the applications today have JavaScript. All this you see, you open an application, you see a pop-up, you see this and that, all these, the behaviors, interactive behavior in an application, making it look funny, making it look interesting. They are all developed using JavaScript. So in this, you can add JavaScript in PHP, and you can add JavaScript in HTML to give it different functionalities. You can equally add PHP to this particular language, HTML, to give it different functionalities you want, different behaviors. So all these are the ones that give them behavior. So that is it. So if you have interest in learning basics, you can start from here. And it's very simple, and it's highly, for me, I'm not using, I've learned a lot from this particular website. It's not for me to be certain, it's just for me to get the knowledge. Even if you as a data analyst, you can start learning a lot of like Python. This is Python, this is NumPy, you know. This is NumPy, this is Panda. These are Python, part of Python language, like NumPy and the Panda. You can learn a lot, even if you are just into data analysis. And Angular, a lot is here. Even if you want to learn database management, this is MongoDB, this is PostgreSQL, and this is even if you want to learn cloud application or cloud technology. This is Amazon Web Services. So this is very, very good for you to learn, more especially programming languages. Even if you don't have any knowledge of Excel, you can learn Excel here. You can equally learn XML from here. So that is it. So as a business analyst, it's good to have just basic understanding of programming concepts for effective communication with the development team. It's not that you are going to be, nobody is going to ask you to start developing any code. All you need is just write your requirements. The major thing you need to understand as a business analyst is how to write your user stories. This is your own language, you know, modeling language. Know how to write your user story, know how to write your own do process mapping, flowcharts. That is the language you are meant, but it's good. This particular skill is good to have. It's not a must. If you don't have it, no problem, but it's good to have. Like I said, it's not a must. In business analysis, there is a way we prioritize our requirements using what we call, we are still coming to that, what we call what this, I've forgotten this prioritization technique. So we say that some requirements are good to have, and some requirements is a must-have. What I'm trying to remember is Moscow analysis. So Moscow analysis tries to tell us that something is a must and something is good to have. So in this regard, programming language is good to have, is not a must have. Let's see this Moscow analysis. So looking at this Moscow analysis, we say that a requirement must have this, a requirement should have this, requirement could have this, a requirement won't have this. So where I grade these programming skills or programming language, your knowledge of programming language is not a must-have. It's a should have. You should have it because it's important. I'm not going to say it's good. It's a should, but it's not a must. So that is how Moscow analysis works. Just for you to prioritize your need in the order of importance. Okay, we are done with technical skills. Let's move to interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills mainly comes out of your personality. This is your charisma. These are some of the charisma you must possess. You must have the ability to negotiate and find a compromise within conflicting stakeholder interests. You must know how to handle a conflicting situation. You must be influential. You must be able to control you must have in control of your temperament. As a business analyst, somebody who deals with a lot of big boys in the company, somebody who deals with a lot of directors, somebody who deals with a lot of business leaders, then you should know that you must be influential. You must be able to control yourself. You must be charming. You must be a charming person. You must be able to win stakeholders' interests. You must be able to negotiate your way. You must be able to buy in stakeholders. Buying in stakeholders doesn't mean just bribing stakeholders. You must know a way of wooing stakeholders into your idea. You must be flexible, adaptability. You mustn't be rigid with your decision making or with your attitude. A business analyst should be flexible. to adapt to changing business requirements and prioritize them. You cannot say this is the way it must be. As a business analyst, you must not use that word must. It must be this way. No. You must understand that business environment changes very fast. These days, we are in a business environment controlled by IT, not just IT, but recent IT being driven by technologies we are just trying to understand, like artificial intelligence, machine learning. Things are moving so fast. So because of that, we can't be rigid. We have high competition in the market. The competition is very high. So you cannot say that we've just, you must understand the market trend. And because of that, you should be able to adapt to changes easily and prioritize needs and accordingly. You must be open to learning to new technologies and new methodologies. You can't just say, yes, I'm now a business analyst. I learned this. That is how I learn it. That is how it should be. You learn every day. Because I'm teaching business analysis, I'm not saying that I'm no longer, I learn new things in business analysis on daily basis. And I cannot say, okay, I've developed this business analysis training slide. Will you continue to use it? I will continue to update these training materials. The training material I used 2 years ago, I'm no longer using them. I've been doing this job, I've been doing this teaching for more than 4 years now. I've been teaching business analysis. And I've been changing my training materials. I keep on updating. I keep on learning new things. So that is how it should be. You should be open to learning new technologies and the new methodologies. I've been using Basecamp for a long time, but now I'm planning to migrate to another technology. I want to start, very soon I'll start using ClickUp for project management and collaboration. I've been using Zoom for a long time, and I decided to stop using Zoom and start using Microsoft Teams. Currently in my office on daily basis, I use Microsoft Teams on daily basis in the office. Now I've decided to use Google Meet for training. So you must be open to learn various technologies. If tomorrow Zoom is no longer in existence, I can just continue with my Microsoft Team. If Microsoft is no longer there, I'll migrate to another thing. I've been using Google domain for a long time. That is why it's good to have idea of so many other technologies. But now, Google is now selling off their domain services. Very soon, we will not hear about Google domain. They want to sell their domain services to Squarespace. So, and that is why you continue to learn a lot of things. So many people that have been so engrossed with Twitter all their life with Twitter, if you tell them, oh, sign up with Facebook and say, Facebook, no, I will die with Twitter. Twitter is gone. And we know that even the system they're trying to change everything in Twitter, so it become a new thing. So if you want to, you don't stick to one knowledge. You don't stick with one knowledge, a knowledge of one application. Learn different applications. Like we have knowledge of Draw.io, we have knowledge of Lucidchart. They are doing the same thing, but we are learning different technologies so that we won't be stuck. That's how you, as the business analyst, you must be flexible, adaptable to changing environment. Then empathy, ability to understand and empathize with stakeholders' perspective and challenges. You try to feel their pain, make them know you feel their pain when they are struggling with a particular situation, looking for solution, and they come to you for assistance. You must be able to empathize with them and find solution. Empathy is a way of winning stakeholders, making them know that their pain is their pain. You are committed to driving this change together with them. You are committed to navigating this stormy environment in the organization with them. You find out that after developing a big application, is not coming up. You spend a lot of money, maybe the director, everything, they'll be trying to develop or migrate on one application. It's not easy at times, so you must try to show that you are part of this struggle. And influence. You must be so influential. Influential doesn't mean you dress in corporate, you wear tie every day, wear suits. It's good to look smart. Yeah, it's good to look smart. It's part of it. But influence is when you always try to make reasonable this contribution. The way you carry yourself, the way you joke, the way you do things, everything you do, you must try to, a bit of mixing professionalism. You don't have to be so professional. In business setting, that will make you look so rigid. So you must have to balance everything you do. That will help to sell you, and that will make you more influential. And with that, you respect people's opinion. That is going to make you influential. You don't look down on anybody. You don't look down on people's opinion. You encourage people. That's where you build influence. You don't just start commanding influence. It's the way you relate, your relationship with people. That's how you build. You start commanding respect. You become influential. People will come to you when they have problems. That's people you are very intelligent, but nobody comes to you because they all feel that you are very arrogant. But you see, all the time people are coming to you. How do I do this? How do I do that? They are seeking your hand in everything. Even the ones you don't know, they always want to hear from you. What do you think I should do in this? That is, you're becoming so influential. When that is happening, you find out you're becoming so influential. That is it. People always coming to you for advice. Even if you don't know it, they'll still come. But they know that every little advice from you matters a lot, and it comes from your heart. But when people start all the time in the organization, you are raising shoulder, you trying to show everybody that you know it all, you do this, you do that, you are this and that, you are a genius. Times people start feeling becomes they are so arrogant, so pompous, you are so full of yourself. So as a business analyst, you must be influential. Ability to build consensus and drive decision making. Like I said, a business analyst will make recommendation. If you keep on making recommendation and they are not buying into your recommendation, what is it telling you? Nobody is buying into your idea. After your analysis, you submit your business case. At the end of the day, that solution will not be implemented. Tomorrow, you do it. So nobody is buying into your idea. Nobody is buying. You might have a good idea, but another person will come up and sell that idea. But you can't sell that idea. So because you don't have that influence. It doesn't just, you need to be a good marketer. That's what it means. You need to market, not just recommendation, but marketing your solution, marketing your idea, marketing your recommendation. You must be convincing with your recommendation. So you must be able to recommend stakeholders and then they key into the recommended solution. That means you have brought them in. So you must have the ability to build this consensus opinion, build consensus idea, build consensus in anything you do, and drive decision making. Any recommendation you make, you should drive it through to decision making. And the last but not the least is business knowledge. As a business analyst, you must understand the business. You must understand the industry, different industries, not just one. You must have the ones that are seeing your CV. You are coming from, you have knowledge of finance, you have knowledge of banking, you have knowledge of insurance, you have knowledge of supply chain, you have knowledge of healthcare. You see, once you throw your CV, everybody will start pursuing you as a business analyst because you have a lot of industrial knowledge. You understand the business. Now, if you look at my CV, I started building with supply chain. Like currently, my company is one of the leader in supply chain here in UK. Before this supply chain, I came from NHS. You know, I have a healthcare industry experience. I work with South Central Ambulance as a business analyst. Now, I equally come from the background of telecommunication. Before then, I was working with O2, Telefonica O2. Telefonica is one of the biggest telecommunication company in Europe. So you have this experience of telecommunication, then you've equally worked in, for instance, in local government setting, which is public sector. So all these things Not just you work there, but as a BA, you understand how these areas work. You understand most of the technologies they use there. The kind of technologies they use, although in some areas they use similar technologies, like in CRM system, most organizations use the same CRM system. But in some area where we have some differences is that some regulations, they may have different regulatory bodies within the different industries. So you must have understanding of specific industry or domain, awareness of industry trend, regulation, and best practices. So these are the things that will help you stand out as a business analyst. Not only that, you must have a good business acumen, ability to comprehend the broader business context, align solution with organizational goal. You must understand the organization. For instance, where I work in supply chain. So most of the solution I look at must align with the organizational goal, which is supply chain. Everything must align with supply chain industry, supply chain vision, being the leader in supply chain industry. That is the organizational goal. That is our vision. So most of the solutions we are bringing in, ideas we are bringing, must align. You must understand the context where you are working. So, and for instance, let me use insurance industry. The trend in the insurance industry is different from the one like in healthcare, or the one in banking, or the one in insurance. Is about risk. It's about risk management. So if you are bringing solution to them, everything you must be doing must be about aligning to risk management. Risk. But though, even if it's banking, it's about risk. Even if it's NHS or health, it's about risk. Everything about insurance is about risk management. So you must be looking at solutions that align the best solution for risk management. So these are the things we're looking at. Like for instance, looking at risk management here, you must have the skills to identify and manage risk associated with proposed solution. Every solution we are bringing must have some element of risk attached to them. You must have a risk plan attached to every of your solution. If you're implementing any solution, you must have a plan of how you are going to manage risk. That's when I was talking about risk management or techniques. I spoke about RAID management, how you collect and manage risk using RAID. Let's say is RAID analysis. So if looking at this, R here is for risk, and I here is for issues, and A is for assumption, and D is for dependency. So you must have, in everything, we have RAID, where we manage, we have our RAID. Very soon, I'll be asking you people to produce a RAID document. It's something we always do. We don't, we do it all the time. So this is risk. You must be able to capture your risk. You must be able to describe your risk. You must be able to understand the impact of the risk. And you must have somebody managing the risk. You must assign an owner to risk within the team. And you must know the priority, whether critical, high, moderate, and the status of the risk you are managing. So when you fully manage the risk, you close the risk. Or when you transfer the risk, you close the risk. So these are things you must have good knowledge of. Something that we are going to do very much. This is how a RAID should be looking at, but we're going to come to that very soon. I'll just try to give you insight about risk management. So you must have these skills to manage risk very well. Understanding, having it at the back of your mind that every project must have anything you do in life, there is a risk. Even when you are eating, that is why we can't start eating without having a cup of water beside before we start eating. It becomes a culture. But these are some of the things we do not understand. We have been very good in risk management, and we do not, we take some of all these things for granted, but we have been doing this every time. Not only that, before we eat, we pray. This is a way of being proactive. Even we are doing it physical and spiritual. In risk management, when we are eating, you tell God to provide any kind of eventuality that comes when you are eating. That's when we give thanks. Before we eat is one of the reasons, thanking God, and then begging God for protection while we eat. It's a way of risk management. A cup of water that is sitting on the table while we are eating is a way of management. So that if there is something happen all of a sudden, you drink water to push it down. So these are risk management. You must have this knowledge of, even if it's not professional, but as a business analyst, you must have professional skills in risk management. At least you must have one you are very good at. And that's why I'm using RAID all the time, the technique called RAID all the time, for us to at least specialize in that. So that is our various skills we need to possess. So in this business knowledge, you must have industrial knowledge skill, we must have business acumen skill, and we must have risk management skills. All these skills empower business analysts to excel, fostering collaboration between business and technical team, contribute to success of projects and organizational objective. Continuous learning and development are essential in the dynamic field of business analysis. So this is where we are bringing today's meeting to an end. So if you have any question based on all these skills in business analysis, we can throw more light on that.
From me, there's no question from me. And I must have missed like 2 or 3 lectures now. I hope we
Yeah,
all.
Miss Andy, welcome. You've missed, but all of them are recorded. They are there in the course portal.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tonight's lecture. On tonight's class, I felt at least I'm a little, not a little bit, at least I'm well okay with the class. So I don't think I have any question on that tonight. Yeah. So I'm probably maybe after going through, if I get to have anything to ask, so I might just get through to it.
Okay, no problems. Agnes and you?
Yeah. I don't have questions, sir. I'll still go through the
Yeah.
record and other things. Oh, I
Yeah,
don't have any questions now. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sir.
I
Thank
hear
you.
you. And one good practice you should be doing is when you are listening or even on your own or when you are doing, it's important to be, because you know this new trend is good. Everything these days, unlike when those days, I don't know whether universities have started doing it, but I know this is where, like this current teaching method is the future of learning. Whether they like it or not, that is how it's going to be. During our own time, you never have any recorded video. Nobody show you interactive class where you. But even if you are doing that, it's good to have pen and be jotting things, because anything you write down, you find out that it's very difficult for you to forget it. Make your own notes. For instance, if you are struggling with the way I teach, then you can write it, make your own notes the way you understand things most. Whichever way is a continuous learning. Even me, I continue to learn new things in this business analysis. I continue to expand. So the more you know, the more you become experienced. That's why they say you become experienced, because you keep on learning a lot of things. So if you don't learn, you don't get to become experienced BA. But it's very easy to become very experienced by continuous learning. So thank you for joining. And like NB that you say you missed, just try to watch it. And if you have any question, you just let me know. So going forward, we are going to be looking at some of all these techniques we'll be talking about. I've mentioned so many techniques, but all of you guys are just be watching. So we have to do a bit of practical. With some of these techniques, we have to do them practical. Even if we don't do all of them, we need to do a handful of practical before it's going to be a warm-up. I need to warm you people up before we start the project. This, you are just relaxing and watching me talking. Very soon, it's going to be our turn to start submitting your technical deliverables, because anything I do, like this raid in risk management, I will do it and ask you to do it. This process mapping, I will map out current state and the future state, and I ask you to do it. I will do gap analysis. I'll ask you to do it, and you submit your own. So we need to do it with some techniques, more especially the key techniques we are going to use, and then we jump into our project. So when we start the project, I'll just be asking you do this, because we've done it already. You should be able to do that. So that is it. So it's going to be a bit technical going forward, but it's doable. So good night and see you soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Yeah.